Infinite Creator, ubiquitous, unending energy, always in gratitude and ever in awe. However massive this is to the mind and however small we feel, we recognize we are a significant part of all of this. There is great appreciation for our being here in this time of transition, being witness to the turning of our worldwide and interplanetary family, and doing our part in alchemizing the material and the spiritual. To do this, our tasks continue focused on creator energy and heart-centered. So let us keep our connection to our higher self in mind while we conduct our divinely inspired actions. And we ask for your continued grace in all that we do. Let it be so. And so it is. This is a reading of a historical event with the purpose of enlightening those who may be unaware of this bit of history, and for those who may be fearful of the people taking matters into their own hands. People are increasingly at their limit, at the corruption and the heavy hand of the governance and its impositions. Let's not get to the point where this history is necessarily repeated. It's August 1946, where the citizens of Athens, Tennessee, are staging an armed revolt against their corrupt local government. People had long been outraged by the local democratic machine, headed by boss E. H. Crump, who's maintained power through graft electoral fraud and used the local sheriff's department as a tool of oppression and brutality. The machine, as it's referred, also kept tight control over the region's newspapers, and its grasp extended to every part of local government. Said one veteran returning from World War II, you couldn't even get hired as a school teacher without their okay, or any other job for that matter. The sheriff's department routinely rousted returning GIs and hit them with trumped up fees and fines to steal as much of their pay as possible. Receiving no help from the federal government, the Department of Justice had investigated election fraud in 1940, 42, and 1944, but had failed to take any effective action. Tensions grew until August 1946 election, when a group of GIs put forward their own slate of candidates in an attempt to overthrow the Crump machine once and for all. They were met on election day by false arrests, vote fraud, and voter intimidation. Things finally came to a head when an elderly black farmer was turned away from the polls and subsequently beaten by a policeman with brass knuckles when he and the veteran assigned as a poll watcher objected. The farmer tried to escape but was shot in the back and killed. The people had had enough. A group of veterans and other citizens gathered together and, still desperate for a government solution, telegraphed the governor of Tennessee and the U.S. Attorney General, pleading for help. But when no response came, and they learned that the sheriff had sent armed deputies to the polling places, the citizens decided that a show of force was necessary. A small group of men broke into the National Guard armory and stole 60 rifles and a couple of Tommy guns, armed the crowd, and went on the march. By then, word had spread that the sheriff's deputies had seized the ballot boxes and taken them to the local jail. Using the military tactics that they had learned in World War II, the vets quickly developed a battle plan and laid siege to the jail. They knew that they had to take control of the ballots before the Crump machine could arrange for reinforcements and before they could complete any plans for vote manipulation. Several hundred armed citizens surrounded the jail and traded gunfire with the sheriff and his deputies. The fighting continued through the night with small arms fire and even dynamite, but by 3:30 a.m., the deputies were beaten and finally surrendered. With their surrender, the ballot boxes were recovered, The GI candidates had defeated the Crump machine candidates by a 3-to-1 margin. Let us hope the current government entities wielding their power over the people at this time listen to the unrest and civil appeals for them to self-correct. From judges, courts, politicians, the medical and education communities, every institution is urged to pull back their stringent policies, relax the impositions, follow their own laws, and make fewer on the people. Respect and decency must be recovered in our communities. Every actor must seriously consider taking their personal inventory, check in with their morality, and act with integrity, with love, and an awareness of divine guidance.
They do not want to let go of this. They do not intend on losing here. And we do not intend giving it back to them.
And then the bullets started flying, and then he jumps out of the car, and he's got both his hands up. And he got out of the car, and he had his hands in the air. He's like, just shoot me then. This is what you want, to shoot me. And they did. They shot him dead. With his hands in the air, and I saw it. I swear to God. He was just walking with his hands in the air. And they shot him. And they shot him dead, and then after he was down on the ground, shot him 3 more times.